Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on my channel. I'm just gonna go ahead and do a quick intro because this is a really long video and I want you to go ahead and jump right into it. Just, in this video I will be talking with my friend Adam about his upcoming YA debut, Surrender Your Sons, which comes out a week from when you're watching this video. If you're watching it the day it came out, which you may not be, it comes out September 15th. We also talk about what it's like to be on submission with editors. Also, there is a giveaway somewhere in this video. If you wanna go ahead and just watch it and find out where the giveaway's at, it'll be in there. It's in the middle somewhere. You have to watch to find out. Go ahead and keep watching and see what it's all about. So for anybody that wasn't here last time, Adam, why don't you go ahead and just tell us who you are and what your book is about.
Okay. Hi, my name is Adam Sass. I am a debut YA author former barista. The barista for many more. I've been a barista for more years than I've been a YA author, so I think a little more about making a latte than I do about book writing. But yes, that's me. And my book, Surrender Your Sons, comes out September 15th. That's me. You can see it's
Is that a complete copy?
This is a final copy.
Oh my god.
See, look at praise.
It's thick.
Praise. It's thick, yeah.
It's all just his family members. His mom just says, don't read this.
She's like, I can't wait to get the audiobook. Audiobooks have taken me through 2020. Honestly, because since quarantine hit, my attention span, no good. Mm-hmm. Audiobooks have been able to help break through the log jam there. And plus I feel like I get more from audiobooks.
I know a lot of people have been listening to audiobooks since quarantine started.
Oh, 100%.
All right. So tell us, what is your book about?
What my book is about is it's a thriller. So it is about Connor Major, who is a 17-year-old queer boy from Illinois, which we are both from. So we know from being a little queer small boy in a small little town. And anyway, I know I'm laughing. Something terrible happens to him. He is taken to a conversion camp on a deserted island. It's not deserted, but it's like a secluded island. It's like kind of Lord of the Flies. It's like Lost. It's very Agatha Christie. Everybody's locked in one sort of island place. It's a mystery. It's an escape adventure. So he rallies all of the other teen queer campers to escape, but not just escape. They've discovered that this camp is sitting on some very dark secrets, and they're going to not just escape, they're going to expose them, shut this place down so nobody ever comes back.
We're all very excited. When you're watching this video, it'll be coming out a week from today. So do you have any suggestions for future when you're watching this video?
Yeah.
Have a drink, relax.
Right. Yeah. So it's right now I'm 18 days from launch, and then I'll be 7 days from launch. And I'm just going to say 7 days from launch, Adam, you're going to wish you were back at 18 days from launch. So the stress has been good stress. As our what does our good friend Ryan LaSala call it? What is it? Euphoric stress? Eustress?
He's the only one that would ever call it any kind of stress.
He's like, that kind of stress where so much good stuff is happening to you that you're just stressed about it.
I've literally never had that happen to me.
Can't relate. So I mean, it's good stress. It's cool. This is it's very exciting, and somebody great feedback has already come in. We've gotten 2 stars.
I was gonna say that was actually gonna be my next thing.
When we talk about it.
So you're just steamrolling.
I'm setting you up.
So last time I interviewed you. If you haven't watched that video, I'll link it above and below so you can go watch my interview with Adam. You had gotten 1-star review, and you said that your wildest dream was that the audiobook would happen. So give us some updates. What has happened since then?
Audiobook has happened. And oh my gosh. And then I've gotten a 2-star review from Booklist. It's been great. So I upgraded me from a 1-star book to a 2-star book. So.
And some other maybe updates secret. So follow Adam on Twitter.
Follow me on Twitter. I think by the time this is out, the news will be out that Surrender Your Sons has sold the German translation rights.
If not, I'll bleep that.
I want to edit that out. That's right.
You might have just heard something. If not, it hasn't been announced yet, but it'll be announced soon.
Anyway, so I'm talking slowly so that Kevin can very easily edit this part out.
It's easy.
Surrender Your Sons is going to Germany. It's one language translation. So whatever the language translation, it goes to every country that has that language. So
that's exciting.
It's very exciting.
and only more to come. More countries, maybe some. I don't know what I was gonna say.
I hope
more
so.
Stars.
Yeah, more stars, more countries worldwide. I'm technically international author. I honestly like German book Twitter has not even book Twitter, book Instagram. German book Instagram. They are so passionate. They're some of the most interesting Instagrammers for the book world. It's just been great. They are extremely like creative, inventive, passionate. They know what they're talking about. Like they love thrillers, and so like it's just been great. Like honestly, like I could not have asked for a better like first translation. Like this is just like absolutely. I love so many people on German Bookstagram.
I didn't know that German Bookstagram was that big, to be honest.
It's a thing. Well, I mean, maybe I've like saturated the market from what I know already, but everybody that I do know, like honestly, like because one of the first kind of virtual book events that I did was for German viewers. It was for Rainbow World's virtual Pride event. And it was a lot of people on the live IGs. So
if you speak German and you're watching this video, you better buy the German version and the English version.
Better. Yeah, I can't wait to see the cover. Got 2 dachshunds, so I look on them all up in that.
Also, if it hasn't been announced yet, I'm gonna have to cut all of that. So can't be talking about Germany for no reason.
I'm just gonna edit that out.
And just so you're all aware, somewhere in this video, I was going to put it at the end, but then you're just gonna skip to the end. Somewhere in this video, there will be a giveaway. I will be doing a giveaway for a complete final copy. What do we call it?
Final copy.
I pre-ordered it twice so I could do a giveaway.
Oh my gosh.
So I will be doing.
Lovely, Kevin.
Yes, so I will be giving away a final copy. So just stay tuned in the middle of this video somewhere. We'll mention it.
Great.
So the point of this video now is not just to talk about Adam's successes in life. We are here to talk about.
It gives you lots of eustress to talk about my successes. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives me some euphoric stress, that's for sure. So submission, being on submission. What is submission? What does it feel like?
Submission.
I guess we should just start off with what exactly it is, because I guess not everyone knows what it is. Because I've had people on my YouTube channel ask me, like, "Oh, you have an agent, so that means you have a book coming out." And it's like, oh, there's a whole other hurdle.
There's a lot of readers who are super, super passionate, a lot of authors who are a little newer to the business, who have not gone on sub yet, who do not know what submission is, and they were happier people before they heard about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so going on sub is, I don't care how many books you have sold, it is dog crap. It is a terrible process that you must go through. It is the labyrinth you must conquer before you get to the end of the publishing journey.
Every friend I have that sold books still hates sub. Like,
it's terrible. It's awful. Like, it's because it is. I mean, it is like, so what submission is, what going on sub is.
Yeah, I guess
is that so you're typically you're agented. You have a finished book, and your agent has said all the notes that that she thinks it needs, and thinks you're ready for going on sub, which means they are going to be getting on the phone, on the emails. I think that's
fax machine.
The fax machine. They will be sending carrier pigeons, and then they have contacts at all the different publishing houses, major big publishing houses, small publishing houses. That's it, big and small.
2 sides.
Pretty much.
If you have a good agent, if you have a good agent, they'll have lots of contacts.
That's the thing.
So that's something to look into too.
So that's real quick. Like, I know somebody who's like maybe not a good fit for their current agent because looks like they don't really have the contacts that they thought they did in YA. So that's why it's very important when you're looking for an agent, not just anybody who thinks you're great, because that's great, but you need somebody who's their job is going to be to know exactly who to sell this to. So you need to make sure you check out their website, check out their manuscript wish list, follow them on social media, and just really pay attention when they say, I rep this. If they don't cover that, you're taking, your life in your own hands a little bit, because some people know, YA, and then some people just do adult. Some people do only fantasy. Some people don't do any fantasy. Some people do no picture books or middle grade. So if you are thinking of doing that and you want to do all the things, get an agent who has all the context, because it's going to be that much more of an uphill battle.
What I'll say is, if it's a new agent, that doesn't necessarily mean don't sign with a new agent, but maybe look at who they work with and who their contacts are, because a newer agent's going to get contacts from their coworkers.
Yes.
Potentially. So if it's a new agent, that doesn't mean don't sign with them. It just means do your research. So anyway.
Yeah, and again, it's the thing is like make sure this is their wheelhouse.
So bare bones, being on submission is basically your agent querying editors at publishing houses for you.
Yep. So your agent now, it's basically, it's one of those things where like you are playing this really long game of tag, and then you're tagging your agent, and then when you finally meet up, and then like your agent then is like taking you, maybe this isn't the best metaphor. It's like if you're all in like a multi-legged race.
What's that race where you pass off the baton?
Relay race.
Yeah, like that. Because it's
exactly.
a relay, and then they're trying to find somebody to pass the baton. That's not a good example either.
It's more of something where there's like a caterpillar game, like this computer game where it's like there's just you with your little book, and you're so alone in the world, and then you get with an agent who's like loves your book, loves you, wants to work with you, and then the two of you go together to find the editor who really super loves you, and then that editor who really super loves you has to sell their whole company on you, and then that's when you have a book. And then the fifth one is the reading public. You have to like get everybody on board.
This is why getting into traditional publishing can be very difficult.
Yes.
Because people just assume, like I said, sometimes some people assume that you get an agent, you get a book. Or if you get an editor, you get a book. That's not even necessarily true. I did a live talk with Alexa Dunn and a few other people where we talked about traditional publishing. And one of the things was that editor then has to convince their entire team and company to then take it. Unless you get a senior, like the head editor, sometimes that happens.
It's one of those things where like the editors are, if they're there for, if they're like a newer kind of lower status editor, or not so many like proven wins under their belt, then they have to do a lot more convincing. If it's a more senior editor, then they can kind of just but at the same time, regardless, it needs to be unanimous.
Yes. And that's where I died at editorial board, was them trying to convince the other people. And it happens all the time to people.
I died at boards. It's like a video game where it's just like, oh, game over. Like, then you have like multiple lives. Your multiple lives in this version are like just how much you're willing to put emotional quarters into that game. Yeah.
I think that can sound a little discouraging to some people. So let's go ahead and give them some context for, you have sold a book. And if you didn't watch the previous video, you won't know this, but how many rejections did you get total?
110 across agents and editors, and my own agent rejected this book.
I think that's good for people to know that you can get a lot of no's and it can still happen.
I'm not going to say I'm the most rejected person in YA with a book coming out, but I'm probably in the Hall of Fame.
I just think it's good for people to know like the statistics behind, like, just because you're getting rejected or because it seems so daunting doesn't mean it can't happen. I've never sold a book, but at which direction are you? Adam has. So like something to keep in mind.
I have. I mean, and again, like I'm gonna, maybe this isn't super bragging, but I will say like one of my things that I've been able to feel really proud of is this took me 7 years from writing it to getting agented to getting it sold to getting it within a matter of days to shelves and your home. And it was never outright like nastily rejected. Like that's the other thing, like people want your book to be the thing, and it can be quality, but a lot of times it's like, we just bought a book about a conversion camp where the kids escape, like, or some thing that you have no control over, and it sucks, and it's the universe, and it's horrible, and that's just the way it is. But like this was rejected so many times by so many folks, and then here we are. Like it's one of these things where like there was all this rejection, and then like, oh no, all these praises and trade review stars, and oh my god,
and foreign rights and audio
highly anticipated. Now
stars.
Everyone's like, we love the book. So it's
a little like
real petty, yeah.
So another statistic, I guess, is how long were you on sub before it sold?
It was honestly, it was like pretty much a calendar year. Like it was pretty much like 365 days.
And that can be, something to keep in mind also is that can be seen as short to some people and long to some people.
It was long and short.
Yeah. Because I won't name names, but there are people in YA who sold their book on submission after a couple of days. There are people.
That is so rare. That is like so like.
Yes, that is the unicorn example.
Hit by like a bus
and then
lightning. It's struck by lightning. Yeah, like.
So like I, for instance, have been on sub for 4 years.
Yes.
And
with 3 different books though. I was on sub for 1 year with 1 book, and I had no book in my back pocket.
The third one's not on sub yet, but I think by the time this video's out, it might be close. maybe on Sub. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk later. Anyway,
maybe you're gonna be one of those like 2-day girls who's like, sold, and
from your lips to gay God's ears, okay? And so I think I also have an agent sibling who was on Sub for like 4 years with the book before she finally sold the first book she went on Sub with. So it can happen. There's a lot of all over the place when it comes to submission.
Problem with submission is that it's just so much of it is not about, is your book good? And that's the hardest part to like do. It's like, it's really about like, is this house looking for this at this time? And does everyone agree?
Yeah, because like 2 years later, or like let's say an editor, because some publishing houses, a no from one editor is a no from all of them. So let's say it could be 2 years later they get a new editor and they're like, okay, they can take a look at that, and then maybe that new editor wants to because it's, you know what I mean? Like, so it's so weird. Publishing is so weird. So just don't get discouraged.
It's very weird, but at least it's not Hollywood, because that's lawless.
I don't even know.
I was in it for 15 years and I went to publishing because I was like, I don't know how to make a nickel in this business. I know I sound like this oldest story. I couldn't make a nickel in this business. Yeah.
So I guess I want you to explain how you felt during submission.
Dreadful, like unhinged, like I mean, you should know, you should probably go into Sub in your most like well place. I would say like as much as it's in your control, and then make sure like people, your loved ones, are very aware of what's going on. I'm not trying to say this to be like, you're gonna die on the trail of Oregon.
I think it's good to be prepared.
You absolutely need to be not alone during this, because it is the long Game of Thrones winter. Like, it is just like, you got to survive the winter. You really do. Like, you must prepare. Like, you just have to go. And the things that will help you during that will be making sure your loved ones know what's up. I had a group chat of like fellow authors who kind of knew. So none of them needed to be told, like, when I explained stuff, I didn't need to go through the whole thing of like, see, it's like when in this business, it's like when you're like, if I was like in a group chat with like doctors or whatever, like I wouldn't have to be like, see, for you,
doctors would never talk to you.
You're rotted. Yes, they would never talk to me. My own doctor doesn't talk to me. Like, I have to like leave a voicemail. So it was one of those things where like, so you have to like, vent to the group chat so that you don't like go on Twitter and go, the following things happen. Like,
oh my God, yeah, don't do that.
Social media. Whenever anybody posts anything specific about Sub on Twitter, Instagram, anything, Facebook, it's like, it's very dangerous. People are like, it makes you look like you can't cut it. Like, and it's just, and you want, because again,
don't want to burn bridges.
It burns bridges. It's not a good look. It's not professional.
That's
all went through this. Like, just keep it offline. Spill all of that toxic waste into a group chat, like I did to you.
Or your journal.
Yeah, like
that's what I say though. Is like people need to also realize that writing is a profession, and so you don't want to go on Twitter and just rant about like this editor who rejected it because they suck. Well, it's like these people will see that. Like, agents will see that. Editors will see that. Like, you don't. The same thing goes when you're querying too. To be honest, like, don't spill your guts on Twitter or any social media.
Like, unless an editor like full out says, like, I'm rejecting this book for like this, and it's like a really problematic thing.
If they're like racist or homophobic, that's different.
Right. Like, if they out, like, I mean, and use your best judgment. And even in that case, it's like, take that to your agent and have your agent take care of that business.
Well, I guess it's a good thing to know is like, to say for people watching is that also when you go out on submission, you don't find out directly from the editor if they're rejecting you or not.
So my agent, Eric Smith, I had a very like frank talk with him where I just said, like, I'm a busybody. I needed to know everybody. Like, if it's not in play with that person anymore.
But the editor didn't email you. It came through Eric.
No. It
goes through your agent.
Eric, what he would do is if it was a very encouraging pass, like if it was like, I love this, but this was like so amazing. Like, please send me that next book. This wasn't a right fit for the company right now. oh my God, the style, the voice, you're amazing, or you're Linda Evangelista.
Oh my
Like
God.
it was like he did, like, not that like it was that, but like it was like if there would be, and occasionally like when you're on sub, like you'll get those really nice passes from somebody who like really loves your writing, really loves your work, and it just couldn't work for whatever reason. And like, so he will send those on to me. That, I mean, it's every agent's different. Like since I said up front that I really, really wanted to know when things were passed on, he felt, you know, like he could pretty much send me the ones where it was like a really like, I'm so sorry to, like, I hate to reject this, but yeah.
I see every rejection eventually, but because I'm so soft, I have to build myself up. And so Rena will send me like an email of multiple ones. Unless it's like a really nice one.
Hiring squad.
Unless it's a really nice one, then she'll send it to me immediately. Like, because like Adam said, like you can get really nice rejections where they did love your book, but like again, like maybe they just bought something that was too similar and they knew that it wouldn't work. Something like that. Like that happens a lot, I feel like.
And I had one where I was really close to Untitled boards where everybody was on board basically. And I have no ill will for this, but like it was just one of those things where the company still needs to know how to market it. And if you write across genres, if like, again, like sometimes if you're writing something that's so like, I mean, again, I'll admit, like Surrender Your Sons has problems that it might, but like that I would be like 100% I get it. But like it 100% is a tricky read because it goes into multiple tones. It crosses multiple genres. It's very dark. It's very aged up, and it's a queer story, and it's a queer, dark, painful story that has like a lot of hope and humor and love and victory in it. But at the end of the day, like a lot of people are just like, oh my God, I can't, like we don't know how to like sell this. It was one of those things where it was like, we love it. Like I wouldn't have the first idea how to pitch this or
so much of publishing doesn't know how to pitch gay YA. So
it's so funny. Yeah. You will occasionally run into the very unfortunate, if you're subbing a queer book, you'll run into or any sort of marginalized voice. You will run into the, we really love this. We are also, we just sold a queer book, so we have our one.
You'll get very irritating rejections.
Yes, they will be irritating, and it's just like, and you just have to feel it out. Just embrace that terrible critique, and then just feel it out. Have your group chat and your agent. Maybe not your significant other, like, because they, like, unless your significant other is in the business, careful how much you're, like, really giving it to them. Like, let them know, obviously, if you're, like, in a really bad, like, dark place, like, that is what you're supposed to share. But I would say, like, I learned, like, maybe I don't need to take every single one of these to, like, my spouse. Mm-hmm. My spouse is in medicine. So it was, like, maybe I don't need to, like, take every single negative thought and fling it at them like a dart, because it does start to accumulate after a while, and they will start to be like, maybe you should try a different job, like that sort of thing. And
really, you just want to vent,
really, like, escalate things. Yeah, you just want to vent. So
you just want to vent, and I feel like if this is something that's
book friends.
Yeah, I suggested in another video is that like you should have someone you can vent to who knows the business that you're in, knows writing, because then they understand these feelings. Whereas, like you said, like if you're complaining to someone, they're gonna think like this just sounds awful, because most of the time you're just complaining to a vent, but like not a lot of people go to their significant other to be like, publishing was so awesome today. Like, you know what I mean? So they're only hearing the bad side. So they're gonna tell you like, well, why are you doing this then?
Well, again, like it's like publishing is a job. So imagine if you were like at any other job and every day you came home from work in a free fall spiral. They would be like, maybe it's time to try a different job. Little do they know that you're like a creative and you're such a sweetheart. You're just a soft and affected by everything. Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who do really well with rejections, and that's awesome if that's you, because that's not me. I don't think that's Adam or
Well, you know me, I famously took sub really well. Handled myself, I kept it together, I kept it cool and tight.
Yeah, that's not at all how I remember it going. Here's the thing. Here's what I'll say is that submission is very similar to querying, where like you're gonna constantly want to be refreshing your email and like
it's
wanting
worse
to know what's
because
going
it takes
on.
forever.
Yes.
Like it takes so much longer. Like
you think querying takes forever, submission can take forever. I could not believe. I really thought, because everyone's like, oh, querying, like sometimes agents don't get back to you for like 9 months. You think 9 months is long? I've had editors reject me after like 2 years.
When I sold Surrender Your Sons, I had, I'm not gonna say their name. I had a agent from like 2 years back finally get to the bottom of like their slush pile and be like, I am so sorry, Surrender Your Sons is not a fit for me right now on my current plate. I was like, I had just announced the sale. Like it was public news.
You should have replied with the link to the Publishers Weekly.
I should have. It was funny because I was like, this
don't burn bridges. But
this agent is like a close follow to my agent. So I'm like, how were you not like even vaguely aware? Not to be like, don't you know who I am? But it was like really, I swear to God, we were closing in on 3 years.
The thing is that like, I just think that so many people don't know what submission is, because I feel like there's some kind of like weird shroud of mystery behind it. Not anybody can go on submission because you have to hit that first step first.
Yeah.
So it's like a weird like shrouded in mystery thing where I feel like a lot of publishing actually isn't forthcoming with a lot of how things work. Or
I would say Hollywood is a mystery. Publishing is
an enigma.
No, I think it's pretty clear.
Really? You think it's clear?
I will tell you. I'm telling you.
Before I got into publishing, before I got into it myself, I didn't know anything.
I would say everything about publishing is find outable and knowable, which is unlike Hollywood because it's way more chaotic. I will say this.
In my day, you couldn't find anything on the internet.
This was my opinion. So this is my lived experience, my opinion.
My conspiracy
is that it's almost too knowable. It's really like because it's honestly like it's like the cold, uncaring universe. Like it's there. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you know that it's like, I would say it's knowable in that like how this you know the steps you need to take to get to sold book.
I'll give you that. There is a clear path of like you need to get an agent. You don't have to. Okay, granted, there are exceptions, but for the most people,
what's usual and customary is you get an agent and you have a finished book. Not always sometimes it's a proposal. I know some people who sold a proposal, you know, and not even as their second book, like their first book. Like you have to have some kind of platform. You have to have a platform because that's the other thing is like this whole like, oh, it takes forever. It takes 9 months. It takes a year. It takes forever. That's pretty much just for your first book because you have to get established and whatnot. Once you're like established and you're on kind of a roll, the subs tend to be shorter because they don't have to like do as much convincing. You do have kind of a proven track record. It sucks, but
it can be hard though to sell a second book. This is something that I think a lot of people don't also know is that just because you sold the first book doesn't mean you'll sell a second.
It's true, unfortunately, especially so the other thing is once you get into, you know, if we're getting into this part, right, but it's like the advance. And everybody hears, I mean, we all gather around the maypole when
you know what? Let me
gather around the midsummer, you know, Wicker Man.
Before we talk about that, let me just cut you off. Let me cut you off to talk about the giveaway because I know people are going to want to hear this. So let me just go ahead and tell you about this giveaway. Oh, for the next week till the 15th, the day that this book comes out, I'll be doing a giveaway, shock and awe, for a final copy of Surrender Your Sons. The only reason why I'm giving it away is because I'm in the acknowledgments.
You get a whole paragraph.
Yeah, it's in the ARC. I read it
while you're telling the audience about this. I'm going to find it.
To enter this giveaway, you have to do 3 simple things. 1, make sure you're subscribed to this here YouTube channel. It's pretty easy to do that. 2, follow Adam on Twitter. He's funny sometimes, I guess. He's linked in the description below. And 3, use this phrase.
You only engage with my tweets when I've like subtweeted you. That's what, like he'll be like, what tweet? If I'm like talking about anything.
No, okay, because I don't.
And then like if it's one subtweet about him, within 5 seconds I'll get a text being like, what is this about? Explain yourself.
How often do you like my tweets? Never.
I don't think you tweet. I don't see you tweet.
Because you don't interact with them. Look, I gotta talk about the giveaway.
This is an algorithm.
I gotta talk about the giveaway. Subscribe to me, follow Adam. You have to. until at least the giveaway is over. And use the term.
You can unfollow, please.
And use the term in in a comment on this video. It's so kind of you to visit me in my loneliness. Which
catchphrase alert.
Catchphrase. You'll read the book and you'll find out what that means. And also, all the rules will be in the description below. This is unfortunately US only because
so the acknowledgement section goes as follows. Kevin Savoy. It is Savoy, isn't it?
I mean, that's the correct pronunciation, yes.
Well, who you don't correct people?
I'm from White Trash, Illinois. So no one pronounced it correctly. So I would never correct a person because it's just like they'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna put on my wife beater and make fun of you for the way you pronounce your last name and drink a Natty Light." So
oh my gosh,
I'm not going to correct anyone.
So yeah, plus also Illinois, our area, Illinois has Savoyas, the Italian place. So that's the Savoy. Yeah. That's the Savoy right there. So this is Savoy, like Savoir Faire. So Kevin Savoy, my salty little brother, my fellow Illinois kin who knows that Pepsi is better than Coke, and one of the fiercest writers I know. There we go.
That's the whole thing.
That's.
Read the acknowledgement. That's what we came here for.
I just did. That's the acknowledgement.
That's the whole thing, really?
That's the whole thing. Yes.
It should be like, I dedicate my first child to you. I will
Chapter
name it
1,
after
Kevin
you.
Savoy, my love.
Yes. I want the book dedicated to me. Okay. So back to submission. So really quick, going back before we talk about advances. Something that so it's like people assume if you get an agent, you get a book deal, which isn't true. People assume if you get a book deal, it means they'll be able to keep publishing books, which is also not true. It really depends on...
Oh, I'm done after this one. I'm done. No.
Okay, yeah, right. Two freaking star reviews, audiobook.
In 3 weeks, this whole thing is done. It's over. I'm gonna Harper Lee. I'll see you on that rocking chair, Harper Lee.
Yeah, right. You can't. You crave the attention.
I really do. I thought you were going to say something nice. You'll never be done because you need it too much, you broken person.
You need it to remind you that you're alive.
I do. I really do.
It's a scary thought because I think a lot of people struggle with just even selling one book. And the thing is, I feel like you have to be really strong or have a really strong support system to go into publishing because it is really harsh. And moving into advances, you can talk about this more because I've never had.
Listen, this is everything I hear this is all passed down from Phil Stamper, who knows the business better than anybody.
He really does.
He's Jack Donaghy. I'm Liz Lemon to his. I think that's in the acknowledgement too. Yeah, he's my Jack Donaghy to my Liz Lemon. Because
I didn't get any comparison in mine.
In that we're not friends, and he's just impatiently telling me.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Just kidding. No, but he really does. No, he really does know the business because he also works for Penguin Random House, and he's just all around he has an encyclopedic knowledge of the business.
Maybe that's why you feel like publishing is too open because you have Phil as.
I really do. I'm like, oh, I just asked Phil what that means, and he's.
So maybe that's why you feel like publishing is too open because I feel like for a majority of people they don't have a Phil to ask questions to.
Oh, exactly. So I'd be like, hey, Ryan LaSala, what does this mean? And he'd be like,
euphoric stress.
No, we love Ryan LaSalle.
He actually has a YouTube channel now. He has an AuthorTube channel that I'll also link below.
Which we love. So anyway, advances are, it's one of those Aesop's fables a little bit. I feel like it's a very careful what you wish for kind of thing. Because something that seems good could do you harm. Something that seems disappointing could be good. And vice versa. So it's one of those things where the advance is the money you're kind of given up front for the book, for the sale. Usually you can't live off it. You can't even pay a utility bill with it because it's chopped up into so many versions. Because they'll give you usually it's we give you a third when you sign the contract. We give you a third when you hand in your revisions, and then we'll give you the final third on release day.
You know what's interesting about that, actually, just a side note, is and for graphic novels, for instance, Damien, he got half when he signed, and he gets half when he turns in the final product.
That was me. I am paid up. I am paid up.
Because I know a lot of times they split it into thirds, but not always.
Most,
a lot of times.
A lot of big fives will just do the thirds.
Yes.
I'm at a smaller publisher, so we did the half. It was fine. So one of those things where, so with the advance is pay your taxes out of that because they don't tax it. So don't spend the whole.
Don't pay your taxes, kids.
Pay those taxes.
Advance.
So the thing is like if you have a small advance, unfortunately that means like up front, it's like, oh my gosh, have I made any money out of this? However, the thing is there's a phrase called earning out. And this is where a little graphic ding will slide in. Earning out.
No.
You don't do the graphics? Get Damien to do. Tell Damien he's not busy right now. He's very not busy. Get him to design quickly. Just he does it quick. So earning out.
Drawing is so easy.
Just have him draw it. It's just drawing. It's so earning out means it's honestly like when your publisher pays you the advance, almost think of that like credit debt. Like you don't
say it like that. That's depressing.
Well, I'm only halfway through my metaphor.
Well, it was awful.
Dear heart.
I'm cutting you off. Go on, I'll shut up.
In this metaphor that Kevin says is false, think of it as credit debt. Like say you're given like a $10,000 advance. So your publisher has said, here's $10,000 for this book. That's not my advance. This is for instance, I'm keeping that money vague, what I was paid.
He made $300,000.
Mystery, yes.
So common in publishing, $300,000.
Oh my, well, for some folks. So, so let's just say $10,000, like kind of something in that range. Usually what's typical is like $7,000 to $15,000 for a first book in YA. That's not like very high concept fantasy. So let's just say you're given 10 grand. And let's just say that is like a debt. You don't owe that money back ever. That's where Kevin says it's false, because you don't owe that money back.
They're just like prepaying you.
They're prepaying you out of the sales. So you don't get any royalties until the royalty fraction, which is usually like, for a hardcover, it's usually like 7 to 8, 9%. There's some like percentage of every cover price. And then your royalty number for each book sale is that. When that number compiled together equals the amount you were paid, then your debt is paid off. And then you can start receiving twice a year royalty checks. Until then, you like don't see anything. Or you'll get like this really great joke royalty check that just says 0.000000 and 0 cents.
But it also tells you how much you still have before you earn out, I think, right?
Ooh, does it? I see.
I think so.
Yeah.
So you just taught me something, because I didn't know that royalties were only twice a year. I didn't.
Eric told me it's twice a year, like when it would happen.
Mm-hmm. Did you just die?
I have to find my cord.
You're just like twice a year, and you fell off camera.
My final word. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure Caleb is the one that told me that it says on there, I think, how much you still have before you earn out. I could be wrong about that. We'll talk in the group chat afterwards and figure out, because that'd be interesting.
Regardless, it's not like every month. It's like only a few times a year. So like even if you like have made a bunch of sales, like like it's usually like you're not gonna get a monthly check. It might vary depending publisher to publisher. But I know Flux does twice a year.
This is not sponsored.
Sponsored.
It is not sponsored. Don't say that. You're gonna get me in trouble with the YouTubes.
Sorry.
So that is only though if you earn out, which not everyone does. And I think
it's rare to earn out.
Yeah. I think what you mentioned earlier, we're alluding to, is that it can be easier to earn out a small advance. It doesn't mean it is easy. It can be easier.
Way more achievable to right away earn out a small advance. Because so we're getting to the point where going on sub again. So let's just say you sold your first book. Usually it's about 2 years to a year and a half before that book will then eventually get the shelves. It's very because everyone in your family is going to want to be like, oh my gosh, when is it in Barnes & Noble? And you're going to just be like, I'll see you next century at the movies. Mm-hmm. It's a long time, because they need that time to work you into their schedule. They need that time to build up your platform, because everybody has to, booksellers, book bloggers, everybody has to kind of be made aware of you, and that does take time. And it's very important work, because it all does play into the success of the book and yourself as an author. So it's very vital. So yes, it's annoying that it's not right away. You're going to be very grateful for that time. And honestly, by the time, like, I've been waiting 2 years for this book to come out now. And even then I'm just like, I need more time. More time I need.
I think that something that a lot of people don't realize though is that, like, let's say you do get $100,000. Sounds awesome in theory, but the potential for earning that out is
The potential. So
slim.
yes. So like when the book comes out, then those sales has that earned out yet. So basically what they'll be able to tell, like, so when, let's just say you go on sub with your second book. And a lot of times if you're at a big 5 publisher, they will buy 2 books from you. So that advance will be for 2 books, not just 1 or multi-book. My deal was only for 1. So that's pretty typical of small publisher, you know, that sort of thing. So then you take your next book out on sub. This time when an editor says, oh my God, I love this book, I want to take it on. And then they bring it to boards, a new element they're factoring in now is they know the numbers of how many books he sold. And they know, depending on the size of your publisher, what was going on at that time. Let's just say if there was a global pandemic happening at the same time.
What?
Let's
That
just
would
say
never
there were a
happen.
bunch of factors that really limited, that really need to be taken into account.
Please, dear God.
Please. So no. Let's just, so that they will know from those numbers if it was like abysmal sale numbers, and like you didn't put any effort into promo, and you were just like, oh, my publicist didn't like promote me or whatever, like, then you just like sit back and expect the whole thing to like go your way. You know, or just if sadly the numbers aren't there, it can be harder to get them to say yes, a second book, or to say like, yes, here's an even bigger advance. Like, so they might send you less money than you got for your thing. So if you are one of those people who is lucky enough to get a 6-figure advance, which even then, $100,000, break that up over our 3-check timeline we said, which is if you break that up into 3, that's $33,000 up front.
You also don't get the full $100,000. Your agent gets some of that money.
Exactly. So what happens is, so Kevin, when you sell a book, what happens is so what they'll do is, you know, so it's like your publisher, you know, you'll sign the contract that says like and it says everything. It says like, you'll get this part of you'll get this much money. This is the total amount of the contract money. You'll get this much money on this date, the date of the contract signing. You'll get this much money when you hand in the pages. You'll get this much money on the release date. Now, remembering our math from before of it's 2 years until that release date, that means a third of that money you don't even see for 2 years. Then it's probably a year of edits. So imagine that. So your $100,000 6-figure deal has now just turned into a $33,000 a year job, which like pretty much on par with like what, you know, like a regular kind of like salary job is, like on the lower end. So like, again, it's not like you're living large, quit your job, you know, like
it's a good chunk of change if you have a full-time job.
It's a good chunk of change, but it's like, keep that job and also like pace that money. Because then, so like your publisher will send your agency that amount. Then that agency you don't have to like pay your agent. It's just very like controlled, where it's like the publisher sends it to the agency pays their agent, and then that agency sends the remainder along to you. And then from that money, you go taxes.
How much is
and
taxes?
Then here's
is it
the
like,
money.
Is taxes like 30%, 40%? Like roughly? Isn't
Yeah.
it 30 to 40%?
I mean, because when you file your taxes, you're basically filing as a self-employed independent contractor. So yeah, like it's going to be a higher tax rate. So you know, again, think of it as a third. Take a third away. It's horrible.
Even if you do get a $30,000 check,
right,
you got $20,000.
Yeah, let's just say like, so it's $100,000 and you got $33,000, and then of that 33,000, 15% of that goes to your agent, and then you get the rest. So that let's just say you get $25,000, and then you got to put $5,000 away. Everyone has like stopped the video now. So basically you got 20K. You got 20K, which is amazing. You are ahead of like so many other debut authors right now, but you got 20K for the next year. If
you have to take a third of your money, let's say it's $25,000, you're only getting a little under $17,000 of it.
So again, great money. But then I would also, here's the thing, I'll tell you, pay yourself some of that money so you don't feel like completely like, oh, it's going into the money pit. So do a little tiny little nice thing for yourself. Then keep a good amount of that for promo. What I have discovered, you know, because again, like big publisher, smaller publisher, they will pay for a lot of things. A lot of the swag that you see, like in a pre-order campaign, might not always be paid for by your publisher. They'll usually provide like some things, but like some
I didn't
publishers,
know they provided anything.
I've only heard of publishers like really paying for like the copies and the mails of the copies, and they'll make you a book trailer and they'll make you a whole bunch of stuff. They will put resources and financial stuff into your thing. Don't think they're just leaving you out to dry. But all the really cute Instagram stuff, unless they're like huge publishers who have partnered with Owlcrate or whatever, usually you're going on Vistaprint yourself and buying your own bookmarks.
Yeah.
So save that money. Save like at least $500 for bookmarks, swag, cute stuff, and then stamps, mailers, that sort of thing. Because you're gonna, as your book gets close, you're gonna be sending stuff out. So like, I would save like 500.
I don't want people to be discouraged though, because I can sound really daunting.
Here's one thing that I have discovered is that publishing is not a hobby. I also, this might be controversial, I also don't think it's a job. Unless you get to that echelon, because a job gives you 401k, a job gives you insurance, health insurance. For this, how I view it, and this really helps me psychologically, I view it as charity work, nonprofit work. I'm telling you, this is how I view it. Everyone has deleted the video. They have downvoted you. I'm so sorry.
I just was not expecting that. I thought you were going to say like contract work, or I don't know. I was not expecting that.
Think of it as charity work, because obviously you have never done charity work. You were sneering at it.
No, I'm not. No, I just
charity work. Charity work requires a lot of yourself, a lot of time, energy, effort, work. It feels like a job. Yet, probably not keeping the lights on in your house, not paying for your rent or your mortgage, not buying you a new car. But what it is doing is it's doing something great for your soul. It's doing something great for your community. It's very positive, necessary, good work. Up front at the beginning. Like all nonprofits, you are becoming like an entity. So this is like the Adam Sass nonprofit, and right now there are no profits. Rolling your eyes at me. I'm dropping pearls here. No, so if you're still with me here, it's because it also, nonprofits and like charity work does sometimes require you to take whatever profits you get and then put it back into the business sometimes to help it grow.
Kind of like growing a small business is like
you're growing a small business.
Like a little off topic, but like with my Etsy shop, I invested a little bit of money at first, but then the profit that you make, you're then reinvesting in.
And it's a lot of like, exactly, you're reinvesting in yourself. You have to have a very secure financial sort of platform to at least that's not this work that can carry you through the first few very difficult years, until you see what's my career going to be like. Is it going to be, oh my God, meteoric rise? Like sometimes that happens. And sometimes it's, you have like, I think some of the best careers are you take a lower advance. I know some authors who are big New York Times bestseller hit makers and have requested a smaller advance so that they know they can keep hitting that mark, because they just want to dependably keep selling, setting their own benchmarks for success, meeting them and slightly exceeding them, so that they can have that really gradual, strong growth.
I think that's something to keep in mind also, because if you do get, like, let's say you are a New York Times bestseller, if you take a smaller advance, is that if you earn that out quick, then your next book, you can say, I've earned out this book, rather than, you might have gotten a larger amount up front, but you didn't earn it out, so that looks worse on your next sub.
Exactly. So that's why it can be very difficult, because sometimes, now we're going to talk about some horror stories sometimes. So why horror stories, like it's one of those things, it's one of those Tales from the Crypt episodes where it's going to be like, it's a little like up front, like it starts very positive, like, oh, Jane Doe sold this book at an auction for a very nice 6-figure deal, and it's literally like $500,000. And it's amazing, but like this author is maybe, I know there's been a lot of like controversial articles where people are like, I'm not supposed to feel sorry for that person, come on. But a lot of times, a lot of authors in YA are on the younger side. So they're in their like 20s. Let's just say someone is in their 20s and is a big, let's just say they're very deluded and they're in their 20s. No, I'm just kidding. Or they're crusty and in their 30s.
I thought you were going to say crusty and in their late 20s, and I was like, thank you. But then you read yourself, so
don't be
confusing.
Crusty in your 20s. You have so many more difficult decades ahead of you.
Oh, God.
So I'm in my 30s, and so there's a few things that I can take a little bit more in stride, I think. But I really took sub in stride, I think. Convince me I'm wrong.
I was there for it.
You were a witness. You were a witness.
I just...
no, but anyway, so like just say, like, again, it's one of those things where like in America, we don't teach finances well at all. Like we don't teach, there's no courses on like, here's how to pay off your credit card. Here's how to deal with student loans. Here's how to do because we keep financial stuff a very big mystery. So if someone who is like very young, maybe, and it doesn't have to be just the age, like it can be like any age, at any age you can, oh my God, blow through in advance and
screw up your life.
If you're not realizing it. But a lot of times publishing will sometimes unfairly, I think, give a big advance to someone who is at least not aware of like, you got to pay, like you have to go through all the math, the boring math part, everybody scrubbed pass through, like you to get to the giveaway, to get to the end. Who don't know all those steps, because publishing doesn't tell you. Hopefully your agent will tell you, but sometimes you have to just like ask your agent, because it's usually.
Don't be afraid to ask your agent questions. Either.
Ask that agent anything. Don't ask them like at 1 a.m. on a Sunday.
Unless it's an email. If it's an email, they'll just respond.
I text my agent pretty late last night a question. I realized right away that I was like, off hours. Should not have done that.
I feel like you can send.
Could have waited. Yeah.
I feel like you can send emails though, because emails will get back to whenever. And sometimes you're just a night owl.
Do that delay function. Do that thing. Yeah. Do that thing where it's like, ooh, send it this time. Or my agent has like noted this one author does this really, really cool thing where in their signature they say like, and if this email is reaching you on off hours or whatever, feel free to get back to me at your earliest convenience. I know everybody's swamped. Like do something nice where you're like, you don't have to like create this environment of like, get back to me right away.
It's difficult for me because my agent lives on a different continent, so it's like hard with the time. So like sometimes she'll email me at like 4 a.m. my time, but it's because it's like 2 p.m. there. So like,
good morning, Kevin. Gonna be another great day. Here's a new email. Yeah.
That is not at all what it says. It's like, you effing failure. No, I'm kidding.
But going back to every day I get closer to cutting you loose.
Going back to the horror story.
Yes. So unfortunately, sometimes like an agent can, an author can get a big advance that's too big that they'll never, like, unless they are absolutely Becky Albertalli, like right out the gate. And not even Becky Albertalli was Becky Albertalli right out the gate. Like that Simon was a slow rise to where it is now. So it's one of those things where it's so much pressure right away to just like perform. And the higher the advances, the more it's like, this company bet on you, and it's like gambling. It's like, that's very high stakes. And it's especially now, like it very rarely right away is like that it's like a Suzanne Collins, like right out of the gate. Something where it's like this unstoppable juggernaut. It's like Midnight Sun numbers right out the gate. I like Buffy vampires. If it's not a Buffy vampire story, I'm like.
Something I did not know about advances until recently is, let's say you sell a 2-book deal. It depends on your contract, but most commonly, let's say your first book doesn't sell very well, but your second book sells really well. If they give you $100,000 for both books, you have to earn out the full $100,000. It isn't $50,000 per book; it's the whole amount.
Yes,
it depends on your contract. Some people can negotiate that with some agents, but it's very difficult. Most commonly, it's the whole amount for that deal.
Regardless, when you are going through the contract negotiation times with your agent, make sure that's very clear.
Yes.
What the earn-out moment is.
Yes.
Because some people will do some funny numbers. So just make sure that's super, super, super duper clear. Most agents will you don't gotta tell them. Yeah. But if you read through it and you notice, hey, at what point is the earn-out moment happening? Which you all should be very interested in. Even those are like legalese, be very interested in that, because that's the moment that's talking about money for you.
Yes. And if you have any questions, ask your agent. If you don't know something in your contract, you should ask your agent.
Yeah. Like literally, I feel like I have the best agent on the universe, the Milky Way galaxy. Like it is because you like almost cannot annoy Eric Smith. Like you can annoy him. Like if you're like, maybe you will get because he's a Scorpio. So you can annoy him. There is a moment at what point it happens. But I have not annoyed him yet that I know of.
I'm just saying. Anyway.
Please, yes. So,
if you want to query Eric Smith, no, I actually don't know if he's open to queries or not right now.
I really don't either. Like
a lot of agents, busy, but a lot of agents are
check his website, right now. Check his Twitter, he's so communicative. Just again, anything, like ask an agent anything, ask a potential agent anything. As in life, don't be creepy, don't be the Terminator, relentless, asking a million different messages. Don't go like, oh, haha, I'm outside your house right now. Like,
do not message them on Facebook either. I've heard a lot of agents beginning messages on Facebook lately, and they
oh my god,
not like it.
No, don't do that. I still haven't. I haven't messaged my agent on Facebook.
No, I haven't. That's weird.
It's weird. It's weird. Just keep it. You're in a business relationship,
and don't get angry if you don't get a response. Agents are very busy.
This isn't best friends race. This is a business. It's show business.
So maybe we should start wrapping it up because we have been chatting for almost about an hour. I just want to end it though, letting people know like publishing can be scary, but if you're like Adam, it's very easy to find out apparently all the steps you have to take. We're here to enlighten you, so if you want to know, go at Adam on Twitter and ask him the question.
I have even fewer boundaries than Eric Smith does, so please leave me alone.
So if you have any questions,
leave me alone. As Kevin says, I need the attention. So like,
but if you actually have questions, you can comment them below, and maybe I'll talk to Adam and then reply to comments. So
please, I would love to hear a text from Kevin again. So please.
I literally texted
about the show, about like the booking.
Anyway, if you have any questions, comment them below, and I'll talk to either Adam or Phil and get you an answer.
It's a wonderful business. I will say one last thing. Have something going on in your life that is not this book and gives you joy. And it's like for me, it was playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild SpawnCon. So
Wild 2, not yet even announced when it's coming out.
I'm so excited. We need it. We need it like right now. We really need it right now. We need it. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Nintendo?
Nintendo ain't watching this video.
They are. There is a fan. There is someone on that team who's watching this.
As I said in my querying video, I think that you should have a hobby outside of writing.
You really need it. You need it because like whenever my safe space outside of this, and that was something that Eric said, he was just like, have something that's like not this, because then it just becomes your whole world, and then any negation of that bloops you out of existence. It's very existential. It's very, you don't want that. You want to drop that.
You need something that's detached from this that you enjoy.
Yes. A big, like a video game works because it's like so big and open box, and you could like put your frustration into it and whatever. But if it's one of those games with like the little mouthpiece where you're like connected to other folks, like don't maybe do that, because then you'll start to like take it all in person. Like in general, I don't love those games because it's like,
because you're getting yelled at by a 13-year-old who's calling you derogatory gay terms.
Right. I feel like it's just like constant harassment. So like I don't get like
13-year-old boys. Have a hobby
the youths don't attack me. Youths.
I agree, though. I think that everyone should have a hobby outside of publishing.
Yes.
Outside of writing. I really do.
Required.
And it can seem like publishing can seem really daunting, but I wanted to have this conversation with you because I want people to know the reality of it, not to be discouraged, but that way they're not going into it naively and living through one of those horror stories of getting an advance that they never earn out, or that's not a horror story, that happens a lot, but like a really large, like 7-figure deal that then tanks your career forever.
And I will say it, and I will say this, being on this side of this, and I will say even this to you, my dear friend.
Me?
Yes, holding this, mm-hmm. seeing this, holding this makes every moment of all of that worth it. It almost erases that it ever happened. Like there are always like frustrations, and there's still like, I mean, that's the thing that I will say, like once you query and they get the agent, it's like, hoo, buckle up, you're about to go in for the sub. Once you sell, it's ho, buckle up, your book's going out into the world, and no one cares what happens to you. Like they will treat you Yeah.
It's so wild because once you have an agent, like there's still a step. Once you sell that book, there's no step. It's like, it's
just get on your hang glider and fly, Link. Like, it's just your go
You're just
go
gonna
out into the
keep
world.
making Breath of the Wild references.
I will. I'm gonna play it right now. I'm gonna go to.
I'm leaving, and you just go off the screen again.
Yeah, it's
okay. Bye.
bye. No, it's so. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it. But like, it's one of those things where like there will always be a new thing to be like frustrated about, discouraged about, because whatever you sold your book for, you'll hear a story of someone else who sold for a little more, and you don't think there's going to be, or just you wanted money, you know, or you know, you got 2 stars reviews, someone else got 3-star reviews. Oh, you needed that 3rd star or whatever. Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where like, and it's just your lizard brain wants the thing and it wants the other thing. It's very creepy, and it's like it brings out not a lot of great sides of you. So that's why you still need the hobby outside of the book. But going through all that, the sub, the querying, the discouragements, the this and that, it is worth it when you are holding the book in your hand and you did that, and no one can take that away from you unless you get canceled 1 week before your release because you made a problematic video with your best friend. And there you go. Then they can take that away from you.
I'm trying to think if I said anything.
I was like, please, I'm gonna hang up. Every time I said edit that out, you better edit it.
Final question. Did you cry when you held your final book?
I didn't.
You're such a Gemini. You're such a Gemini.
I'm so, like, here's the thing. I will cry over like nothing. Like, and like I'm crying. I cried two times today over nothing.
You get your final book in your hand.
I got my final
trash.
book. I'm telling you, this is my Gemini moment. Like, when I got my final copies, I was filled with like, this feels correct. You feel, and it's a better feeling than crying. I'm telling you, it's a better feeling.
I'm a Pisces, so like the thought of holding a final book makes me want to cry. And I'm not even holding it.
Sure, but like,
don't worry, I'll record it for my YouTube channel. You'll all see me bawling.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. As a power mad Gemini, like, I will say it definitely was like, yes, my ascension has arrived. Like, it is very like, you do get filled with like this moment of like, okay.
Do you know you're the only Gemini that I get along with. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for talking to me about being on submission. If you have any questions for Adam, do not at him. Comment them below. Remember to check the little description to see the rules for the giveaway. I will be sending that out the day that the book comes out. I'll be sending it. So
great.
You won't get it day of, because I'm not getting it till day of. That's just how the cookie crumbles.
And honestly, with the quarantine, and September is bringing us 90 YA books. I've already seen some, like, you know, I've been alerted that like some of my shipments are going to be a little delayed, or maybe
all I'm saying is
a few days.
If I don't get it on time, I'm canceling my order and getting a full refund.
Please don't, please. Listen, just at this point, look at me. Look at how I live. I live in a closet.
This is actually Adam's entire apartment.
Help me. Yeah, this is my entire apartment.
Okay. So we're just rambling. So thank you for coming, everybody.
Great.
I will do an end clip. Adam, do you want to go out on any bangs? Remember, his book comes out a week exactly from today. Do you have anything to close on?
Yes. If you're pre-ordering Surrender Your Sons, please pre-order. Pre-orders are very, very, very helpful for new authors, debut authors, marginalized voices, marginalized stories, just like and also like small presses. It's very, very important to pre-order for them, so we have like a very, very accurate number. Like, it really helps, especially like in these COVID times where it's going to be like, if just say Surrender Your Sons goes into a second printing right away or something. I don't know if that happens. Like, if that happens, then it might be delayed. So you don't want to get caught without the book because you will be left out. You want to be part of the conversation.
Question: are you still doing the book plates, or are you done with those?
No. Pre-order campaign goes through the day after release, September 16th.
That's good, because I forgot to fill it out still.
Yeah. Well, like, I'll do it today. Literally illustrated the giveaway. So
I know. I'll do it today. What I'm going to do also is all the links to Adam's social media is down below, as well as the website where you can do the pre-order giveaway.
Pre-order campaign, you get a book plate.
And all the links where you can pre-order it will be below.
Yep. You get a signed book plate from me. You get an illustrated postcard with an adventure poster with all my characters on it. You also get a digital copy of the entire prequel. It's a 100-page prequel.
Very good.
releasing in parts. Yes,
I've read it.
Finished designed prequel version of that, which is all like really, really good stuff. And then you get entered into a giveaway to get a bamboo quarter flute pendant necklace as worn by my main character in the book. There's 10 of those I'm giving away. You could enter to win one of those. I didn't realize it
was 10. I thought it was only 5 for some reason.
10
people. 10 of you.
10 of you.
It's playable too.
It's playable. Listen. There's I was gonna send one to my agent until I realized, like, oh man, like his son is like 2, going on 3, God. And I was like, oh, he's just never gonna, like, he'd kill me. Like, so I was just like, okay, yeah. You'll get another sort of pub day present. So the main thing is pre-order, and make sure you register that pre-order because I'm giving away swag. It's U.S. international. It's everyone.
All the links are below. All the links. All of them.
That's right.
So thank you for coming, Adam.
Thank you for having me. I always love doing Kevlandia.
Well, not Kevlandia anymore. You would know that if you watch my videos.
Oh, no, wait a minute. No, you are Kevlandia. You're KevTheWriter.
On that note,
I love coming on to DI Ride. I love it.
I'm out. Maybe Adam, I was going to say Adam will be back at some point, but now I don't know because, yeah. I don't know about this, so.
Listen, I'm about to blow up and I'm about to forget your name and your number, so.
I'll be like, look, this is me in the acknowledgments, and then I'll burn your book.
I don't remember, I'm sorry. Thank you for helping me.
Like,
if you're in the acknowledgement.
Thank you, reader.
Thank you, reader. Thank you, fan. You'll just get like an auto email from me that just says like, dear fan.
Please write back
for writing to me. As you may imagine, like I get so many letters on a day-to-day basis.
Shut up.
I can't respond to them all, unfortunately. I hope you have a great day. Yep.
And it'll say, please write back to me during office hours. I'll get back to you.
Those hours are, and then I just don't fill in the rest.
Okay. Okay, thank you for coming. I'll do an end clip after this, so keep watching the video where I'm going to reiterate stuff. But for now, say goodbye to Adam.
Bye.
A big thank you again to my friend Adam for joining me on my channel to do this complicated discussion that I've wanted to do for so long that I just knew I couldn't do it myself, and I just wanted to talk to Adam about it because I wanted to know more about how he felt, and I just want to know how he felt about what it's like to be on sub as well. Again, if you want to enter the giveaway, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. Make sure you follow Adam on Twitter and use the phrase, "It's so kind of you to visit me in my loneliness," which is also in the description below if you can't remember, because if you have to read the book to find out what that means. Okay, goodbye. I love you. Goodbye.
If you want more of Kevin, click here. This video is pretty cool too. If you loved it, hit the subscribe button. What are you still doing here? Go write already.